listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We're here once again, and just like any other time, we have another amazing show with another guest. We have our guest today. She is a children's book author, Rella B. She's going to share with us her process of all the creative things that she's been doing with her authorship and publishing books for children. And her website, we'll plug that throughout the show. Real quick, mental note is RellaBBooks.com. First and foremost, thank you, Rella, for your time. How you doing?
I'm doing so great. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate your time. So when it comes to your journey being an author, kind of unpack for us, first of all, what inspired you to write books and specifically children's books?
So I used to love writing when I was little. I loved writing stories, and I used to write like more adult-like stories, like mysteries or like horror type things. But children's books are something that I just love. I love the illustrations. I love the classics. There's so many lessons that you can learn just from children's books. Some of them are like so profound, even as an adult reading some of them back through. And it's a lot different now that I have a daughter. So I had been writing books for about 7 years because I am a flight attendant and I would fly on the plane and then just write books. So because of that, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm never going to get this work back. This is years of work. Now I have to like write these and actually do something with them or nothing's ever going to happen. So I have to like actually take action now. So I went and I started writing my books again. I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and publish a few of them. So I got an editor. I went through the process. It seems like it was going to be a lot easier than publishing an adult manuscript, but there's so many different parts and pieces that go into being a children's book author as well. But I finally got my first 2 books published in October of 2023. And then from there, I was like, you know, I need a way to market it. So I started a podcast for kids where I have authors come on and read their children's books to the kids. And then I also have a podcast where I do read aloud stories of different authors' works. And we do like a little stretch and then we do a riddle and then we read the book. So it's like, it heightens the comprehension as they're going through the story as well. So I tried to make it a whole literacy based, like entertainment.
When it comes to the style that you provide, it's like inspirational, using your imagination, being very creative. Why is it so important for you as an author to really embrace that approach when you are, you know, specifically targeting your demographic?
So I think it's super important to embrace creativity because I think sometimes creativity is the last thing that's embraced for children. You know, everybody wants their kids to know how to read, write, you know, do science and mainly focus on STEM-like things. And then art and creativity or writing. I mean, writing's with literature, but more the creative, imaginary realm is pushed aside. It's like an extracurricular in school. So I think it's really important to always foster imaginations, always like encourage out of the box thinking.
When you look at the time that you were in a previous career and now you're writing books, what was that transition like to come from, you know, one perspective of your life into a new chapter where you're like, okay, it's pretty much open right here. I get to be as creative as I want to be and publish whatever I want. What was that like for you?
It's a little bit scary. It's exciting, but also nerve-wracking. You know, some people don't always respond to your work like you intended. Some people don't like your work and, you know, it opens you up for a lot of criticism. Whereas before, you know, there's not that much you can do wrong. Like unless you are messing up something, because I have a technology background. So unless I was messing something up on a computer, like maybe messing up payroll or messing up, a safety procedure as a flight attendant. There wasn't that much that could go wrong. But as far as creative work and creating children's books, there's very open guidelines and you're opened up to a lot of criticism. So I'm kind of sensitive. So that's something that really made me nervous.
Once again, we're talking to our guest today, Rella B, and you can visit her website. It's rellabooks.com. You also have a podcast, Reading with Rella B. I think that's pretty awesome. Tell us a little bit about your show.
Right. So my podcast is for kiddos, probably age 3 to about 8 years old. And I will go with a stretch first. So we do a little stretch and then we do a riddle, just like the YouTube channel. And then we invite an author on to read us their story. And then we ask the author a couple of questions about what the story was about, what inspired them to write it, and what type of advice they have for littles. And then after that, we do a little shout out and close out the show. And I just really wanted to be able to, one, network. Podcasting is such a great way to network and learn from the people that you have on your show. And it also helps broaden, the awareness of my brand too. So that helps with my books as well. So I kind of wanted it to be full circle. Like maybe someone will enjoy the podcast more than the YouTube channel, because there's lots of families that don't necessarily want to partake in screen time. So that's why I have the podcast.
That's smart. And when it comes to branding yourself, I mean, your videos on YouTube, they're professionally done. They are heavy on graphics, illustrations. What was it like for you to make a full circle, if you will, from providing different variety ways for parents and their young kids to consume the content you have?
It was really overwhelming. I set a lot of deadlines for myself, and I don't necessarily think it was necessary for me to put that type of pressure on myself, but I learned a lot in the process. I would record something, and because it's the first time I'm using a green screen, I'd record something and then my arm would be out of the frame because I don't have, I can't see myself when I'm recording. So it's been a really big learning lesson. How do I light this properly so that the green screen comes out right? What do I need to do with my hair? Because that will mess up the green screen. So it's been a lot of trial and error. And I've gotten a lot of really good compliments as far as the quality of craftsmanship in my videos. So I really appreciate that. Now I'm just trying to get the word out so that people can all enjoy the content.
I mean, you can tell it's heavily editing involved. It's not like you just jump on the screen and that's the video. It's a lot of creativity with changes and animations and objects appearing and text animations. Is pretty cool. So when you look at the journey and the progress you made, I mean, you said earlier in the episode that you're a mother. So how has that inspired you and your creativity, and how you are presenting your brand out there?
Right. So, a big part of this as well is my daughter loves to sing. She loves to dance. I think she's going to want to be an actress. And part of my thinking is that when she gets to be about 13 or 14 years old, if she wants to take over the show in a way, almost like when Blue's Clues got a new Steve, but it was still Steve.
Yeah.
She could almost just take over. She actually helps me write some of the songs because I'm about to start doing originally composed nursery rhymes and little songs for toddlers. And she helps me write a lot of those. We'll sing in the car. She's a big inspiration. She is so brave and bold and unapologetically her. She has a big sense of identity for being only 3. So I'm doing this all for her. Hopefully she can take it over. I can build it. This can be something that's lucrative for our family. And, I can just help her foster her dreams too. And if she doesn't want to take it over, that's perfectly fine. But I think she will when she gets a little bit older, because she just has so much input now.
That's smart, because, I mean, chances are if she's liking the content produced at her age, there's a very good chance, strong chance that other students, kids at her age will probably like it too. And that's part of building your brand, and you always have to have a test A and test B and see what's working. For you, being in this business world, what has been some of the most rewarding things that you've seen outside of the constant, stress that comes with businesses?
It would probably be the collaboration process. I love collaborating with other people and just like being really creative. And I have a couple things that are like in the works in order to do that. And so it's really nice when, you can collaborate with other creatives or other business owners and you have a common goal to just spread awareness about both of your brands. And it's really rare, I feel like, to come by because, there's so much gatekeeping now in the community. Even learning like how to guest on a podcast, there was like a wall I kind of had to like jump over because I was like, well, how do I do this? Like, how do I get on a podcast? How do I pitch myself to like blogs? Like, it's just a very big learning curve. But I think that being embraced by different brands and collaborations has been like a really good success that came from a point of stress.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I want to ask, because, sometimes we can focus on the craziness of having to wear all these different hats in business. And it's like, man, I still got to have a great product for people to enjoy. So you want to put all your creativity and love in the product and not let them, see all the stress behind the scenes.
Right. And that has definitely... I try to block my time. So like one day will be like a recording day, and it just needs to be a day where I feel 100%. Because if I don't feel 100%, I swear it comes out in the content. Because there's sometimes I've recorded videos and then I had to record the whole thing again, like 3 or 4 times because there was something wrong with each take.
Yeah, I can imagine that, because it's like if you're recording video and you had a stressful day, you don't want that look to go on the video as well.
Exactly. Because I don't have a really good poker face. So
there you go. Yeah, because, there's some jokes to be said if I want to say it. But when you look at the opportunity you have to inspire the next generation, right, to be, creative, to be learning students, I mean, I'm sure by now you've been approached by either organizations or other people or schools or teachers or parents and wanting to help you grow what you're doing?
So in some facets I have, which has been really exciting. Lots of them have been other authors or AI-based brands, or who else? There's a couple publishing houses. It's really exciting. I feel like, it's interesting how people find me. So that's been cool. I've gotten to read at a women's shelter, actually, because someone found me online. Uh-huh. And it's exciting to know that my name is getting out there. But, just trying to duplicate that is interesting.
I mean, because looking at a couple of your videos on YouTube, it's like, it's something that you see on, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. Probably Nickelodeon, but it's like, it's content that will fit a lot of parents who are trying to give something to the kids to not just keep them occupied, but to give them something that will be fruitful for them to gain knowledge from.
Right. And that's, I wanted to create content that I wanted my daughter to watch. And a lot of content does not encourage movement. So kids are just watching a screen, for a long time, and there's no like little brain break. So, that's really important for me to get up, stretch with the kids. And then the riddle is supposed to be like really interactive. And then they know the riddle has to do with the book. So like, what is the riddle? And then once you find out the answer to the riddle, it's like, okay, well, now what's the book going to be about? Because I know that this is the answer to the riddle. And, I'm trying to make it full circle. I want it to be interactive, engaging, encourage movement. And then reading percentages for enjoyment are down by like 20% in this decade, or something very close to that. And it's sad to see. I don't see a lot of kids like reading for enjoyment, and my daughter loves to read. absolutely loves it. So that's a big full circle moment as well, is like she loves to read the books that I have on the show, and I have to like hide them from her actually before, because she might like mess up the pages. She's only 3, so sometimes she's a little aggressive with the books.
Man, that says a lot, though. I mean, usually around that age, they want some food, or because I have a nephew, and it's like, yeah, they either want some food or, you know, they want their toys, man. They don't, you giving them a book, then we looking at you kind of funny.
Right.
So once again, talking to our guest, Rella B, you can go visit her website, rellabooks.com. Someone listening to this right now and they want to get involved. Are there ways that you allow people to promote you or share your, what's the best way they can share your books, your links? What's the best way someone get involved if they like this idea that you're doing?
Right. So they can share from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, from YouTube. My website is rellabbooks.com, like you said. And there's actually a space there if they want to participate as an author or even just for their kiddo. I have the Want to Participate tab. And for kids, you can go on and write a story idea. So the kid may say, you know, I'd like to write a story about a pink ice cream monster. And you just type that in and your email address. And then I have a story generator that'll generate the story and send it to you. And it'll also send it to me. So if I get those stories, then I'll actually read them on the podcast as well and give that child a shout out. And then for authors, like they can always come on the podcast and read their books as well. And then for any donations that I get, I have a section that's called a co-creator section. And so if I get a donation, then I put in their name at the end for this little like shout out that I do. So there's a lot of ways to get involved. I actually have a free printable activity for every single podcast episode. So they can just download that from the show notes. And then if they want to have their child do it and then tag me on Instagram, my handle is Rella B Books on every social media platform.
So, for instance, if a teacher at school that deals with teaching kids, could they potentially collab with you and use your resources in their classroom?
Yes, definitely. They can get most of it from the show notes, and I have a newsletter where I send out the worksheets and just update people on what's happening as far as like episodes that have dropped and different authors' books that have been out on the podcast as well. And I'm going to start doing a Rella B Live, which is just like an author visit, but on Zoom. And then we'll do almost like a little episode, like do the stretch and then a little riddle and then read a book. So I'm really excited to get that started. I do have to wrap up a couple of things before I do that, but I'm hoping to start it right after spring break.
Man, it sounds like a plan. Sounds like you're growing this into new chapters. So with that said, you kind of gave us a teaser there, but what were some of your short-term goals with your brand and expanding it, reaching, you know, people, maybe not just in the nation, but around the world?
All right. So sorry about that. I really would like to pitch this show to possibly a network, a podcast network, or even a small streaming network. I know that there's ways to get your show on Roku, so I'm looking into that to be able to expand my reach. And then I'm also trying to partner with different brands as well to try to expand my reach and just create like fun content with them. Because, you know, in a lot of music videos for kids, they're fun and they're silly. But one of the things that I would like to do is, like, for example, I have a silly song and it's all about noodles. So I have the idea for the music video, but I would love to partner with a brand like Bertolli or, you know, some noodle brand and have like their noodles in like their box in the music video. I'm not necessarily going to like say their name, but I just want there to be a brand that's like represented. So that will help me grow, but then also help them grow. And then just continuing with like trying to spread knowledge, whether it's in person at different conferences. I've already been to one, but I have a couple more planned. And then I haven't been to a book fair yet, so that will be next as well.
Yeah, I can imagine a book fair skyrocketing your books into more eyes. So that's a good plan. When you have the business hat on, how easy is it for you to continue to have fun in watching your brand grow, but at the same time, understanding that, you still have to grow this?
Right. That's been an internal battle a little bit. It's been really exciting seeing it grow. And I've had some coaching done, and they're like, hey, you're posting a lot, which is great, but is that something you're going to be able to maintain, like posting 3 to 5 days a week, or, just being disenfranchised sometimes by different algorithms? Like sometimes I'll post a video and it'll get 33K views in, like 2 weeks. And then another time it'll get like 700 views in 2 weeks. And you're always trying to duplicate your success, obviously. But I just have to keep remembering that, honestly, if I don't move, the business doesn't move. Even though I have people that help me, like there's nothing that's going to go on in this business without me doing it. And in a way that is encouraging, but a little bit discouraging, because if I have a week that I'm like, man, I don't really want to do anything this week, I have to work like really, really hard the month before to make sure that I can just kind of skip a week. So I'm trying to make sure that I don't spread myself too thin, because I do have so many hats on.
Once again, talk to our guest today, Rella B. Go to her website, RellaBBooks.com. Before we close, you also have a shop on your website where people can get some Rella B merchandise and some fashion as well.
Yes, I do. So because Rella B is my alter ego, she has her own special clothes, and they're all in different colors and patterns. So there's lots of different merchandise on my site, like bento boxes, lunch boxes, clothing, swimwear, shoes. And they're all just really fun patterns, like Rella B patterns, or they're based on my books, and they have like bookmarks and just fun things to add to, your kids' wardrobes. One day I'm hoping to partner with Nugget and have my own Nugget cover, because I do love Nugget couches.
Well, if you want to support Rella B and everything she's doing, go to the website now, RellaBBooks.com. Also go to her YouTube, Rella B Books on YouTube, and watch her videos. And yeah, might have to share some ideas with you when we're doing this interview. But once again, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.